When life becomes unpredictable, most people believe strength looks loud. They imagine resilience as confidence, control, and the ability to keep pushing no matter what. But real emotional resilience is rarely dramatic. It is quiet, it is invisible, and most of the time, it is built in moments no one else ever sees. We live in a time of constant uncertainty. The pressure is subtle but relentless. Bad news travels instantly. Expectations keep rising. The future feels harder to read. And without realizing it, many people begin to live in a permanent state of mental tension. Not because they are weak, but because their minds never truly get a chance to recover. The truth is, resilience is not about pretending to be okay. It is not emotional numbness. It is not blind positivity. Real resilience is the ability to stay flexible under pressure, to recover without losing yourself, and to face difficulty without letting it define the way you think. In this video, we will break down 5 quiet habits that emotionally resilient people use to stay steady in uncertain times. These are not extreme life changes. They are small psychological shifts that protect your energy, sharpen your focus, and make you harder to break. The first habit is something most people underestimate: micro-recovery. Many people think burnout comes from one major event, a crisis, a breakup, a failure, or a deadline. But often, emotional exhaustion comes from something much quieter: the accumulation of unresolved stress throughout the day. A frustrating message, a tense conversation, a small disappointment, too much noise, too many thoughts, too much input, and not enough reset. Emotionally resilient people do not wait until they collapse to recover. They reset early and often. Sometimes, this looks like one slow minute of breathing before opening another notification. Sometimes, it means stepping away from stimulation for 60 seconds. Sometimes, it is simply noticing what your body feels like before stress turns into identity. The goal is not to escape life. The goal is to interrupt the stress cycle before it builds momentum. Because resilience is not only about how well you endure pressure, it is also about how often you return to yourself. The second habit is selective focus. One of the fastest ways to lose emotional stability is to give mental energy to everything, every headline, every opinion, every possible future problem, every situation beyond your control. The human mind was not designed to carry the weight of the entire world at once. And yet many people try. They confuse constant awareness with responsibility. They confuse overthinking with preparation. But resilient people understand something important. Attention is a form of emotional currency. Where your focus goes, your nervous system follows. This means one of the most powerful habits you can develop is asking a simple question: can I control this, influence this, or only fear this? If the answer is only fear this, then your job is not to obsess over it. Your job is to stop feeding it. Selective focus is not ignorance. It is discipline. It is the ability to protect your mental energy from things that drain you without improving your life. In uncertain times, this habit becomes essential. Because the strongest mind is not the one that thinks about everything. It is the one that knows what deserves its attention. The third habit is cognitive reframing. When something goes wrong, the mind reacts quickly, sometimes too quickly. It predicts disaster. It creates stories. It exaggerates what the moment means. A mistake becomes proof that you are failing. A delay becomes proof that life is falling apart. A rejection becomes proof that you are not enough. Resilient people are not immune to these thoughts. They simply do not trust the first interpretation. Instead, they pause and ask, what else could this mean? What can this teach me? What part of this situation is painful but still useful? This is not denial, it is mental flexibility. Cognitive reframing allows you to suffer less from the story than from the event itself. And that matters, because many people are not destroyed by reality, they are destroyed by the meaning they attach to it. The moment you learn to reframe, you stop seeing every challenge as evidence of weakness. You begin to see difficulty as information, and information can be used. The fourth habit is strategic discomfort. Most people naturally avoid what feels uncomfortable, and in the short term, that makes sense. Avoidance can feel like relief. But over time, avoidance teaches the brain a dangerous lesson: that discomfort is something to fear. And the more you avoid discomfort, the smaller your emotional range becomes. Eventually, even ordinary challenges start to feel threatening. Resilient people do the opposite. They practice small forms of voluntary discomfort. They have the difficult conversation. They sit with uncertainty a little longer. They start before they feel ready. They do the thing they have been postponing, not to punish themselves, but to prove to their own mind that discomfort is survivable. This creates psychological strength, because every time you face a manageable discomfort without running from it, you teach your nervous system a new truth. I can handle more than I thought. Resilience grows when fear stops being the thing that makes your decisions for you. The fifth habit is what I call the no-verdict evening. At the end of a difficult day, many people replay everything like a courtroom. They judge their reactions. They criticize what they said. They relive what they should have done differently. And instead of resting, they mentally punish themselves. But emotionally resilient people understand that constant self-judgment is not reflection. It is emotional friction. At the end of the day, they allow themselves to observe without immediately labeling everything as good or bad. They replace self-attack with honest awareness. Not, I handled everything terribly, but that day was heavy. I felt more affected than I expected. I need recovery, not shame. This habit matters because resilience is not built by being harsh with yourself. It is built by being honest enough to notice what happened and calm enough not to turn every hard day into an identity crisis. Sometimes the healthiest way to end the day is not with an answer, but with permission to stop fighting yourself. Emotional resilience is not something you suddenly have. It is something you practice. It is built in quiet resets, in protected attention, in reframed thoughts, in chosen discomfort, and in the way you speak to yourself when the day is over. In uncertain times, these habits become more than helpful. They become psychological armor, not the kind that hardens you, but the kind that helps you bend without breaking. So ask yourself, which of these habits do you need most right now? Let me know in the comments. And if you want more videos on psychology, intelligence, and the hidden patterns of the mind, subscribe to Mind Unlocked. Because the strongest transformations are often the quietest ones, and here we learn how to see them.